What is going on, everybody? Real Fans FC. I got my boy Julian here. You guys know I'm back in the house. Will K, baby. Guys, we got a big video for y'all. Listen, Intercontinental playoffs have just been released a couple days ago for Europe and also for the rest of the world. Julian and I have been keeping up very up to date with this. Obviously, CONCACAF videos have been published out. We've been talking a lot about what's going on with World Cup qualifiers wrapping up. Obviously, you guys already know the World Cup draw is coming up December 5th. Julie and I are hyped, dude. We've got so much good content, so much good videos that we want to talk about. Smash the like button, guys. Smash the subscribe button. Keep notified with us. Like I said, we got a lot of good stuff that we're going to be ready to pump out. But yeah, Julian, for today's sake, though, man, listen, Intercontinental. Let's keep this CONCACAF mindset. Let's keep our
Yep.
CONCACAF hat
Yep.
on. We're thinking Jamaica. We're thinking Suriname, the Suri boys, the Reggae boys. This is a big opportunity. It's a big opportunity. Obviously, when you look at the lens in CONCACAF, but not only just that, but when you look at it, the lens in the Caribbean, we've already got two Caribbean islands here with Haiti and also Curacao qualifying to the World Cup. Can two more join the party and enter in the club? It's a big tail. It's a big ask, but I must say though, these guys have a chance though, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, I think there's a chance. I definitely think there's a chance. If you look at it, to me, this is just like a quick off the cuff. I think Suriname has a better chance to advance based on their path. Now, take that as you may. Even though I think Jamaica might be the better team if you had to put those two together, that Jamaica path, the first game should be a walk in the park. New Caledonia, look, I don't mean to disrespect my Polynesian brothers, but it's it's not there for you guys. I'm sorry. Um, Quite honestly, the only reason why you're there is because New Zealand just runs away with the region, pretty much. So what I envisioned for this Jamaica path really is kind of similar to how we saw them compete with Bermuda. Should be pretty easy, pretty smooth. Uh, I don't see too many complications there. Now, Suriname, the Bolivia game is going to be interesting because Bolivia, they're not a good Common Bowl team. But not being a good Common Bowl team, how
They're
does that
quite frankly the
compete with?
worst.
Yeah, they are the worst. Let's just say it. Like, because Venezuela has gotten better. Well, actually, technically, they knocked out Venezuela. Venezuela didn't make it. So, can you really say they're the worst? They actually made it this far. Chile, Peru,
Historically,
and yeah.
historically, Bolivia are the worst.
But with that being said, maybe because this games are going to be played in Mexico. I don't think they're going to be played in Mexico City though, so they don't have the altitude on their side there. But that could be a little bit of a benefit. Obviously, it's not to the same level, but
Yeah.
I just feel like whilst I think Suriname has a good chance against them because I think Bolivia is going to want to play the ball and play possessive ball, and Suriname's best when they're on the back foot and they can counter and use their speed at will. Hopefully, everybody can come back healthy for them. I think they can potentially see a result there. Now you're going to Iraq. Iraq is going to be a tough matchup, and quite honestly, I think they're a better team than Suriname. But I do think it's a winnable game in that sense. Versus if you look at Path One, once Jamaica ideally is going to beat New Caledonia, the DR Congo to me is a much tougher matchup for Jamaica than Suriname is for Iraq. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Disagree?
Yeah, I mean, you look at it in a lens, and like you said, Julian, you're trying to look at the paths. Obviously, both of these teams did not draw each other. They're both on different sides of the pots. Obviously, with two CONCACAF teams, it was done on that in purpose. And you have to really look at it, and you have to say whose odds are in the favor. And it's a tough one because, like you said, you can look at that final game and you can genuinely say Jamaica's got a toss up, or excuse me, not a toss up. They've got a layup game against a New Caledonia. Like you said, no disrespect to the boys out in the West Coast. If we were playing rugby, New Caledonia would run away with this game. Simple as that.
Yeah.
But we're not. We are playing soccer, so it's a different story in that aspect. Jamaica should have a first game layup, a slam dunk, kind of move ball, ballpark game. That second game is like where you said it's really. I mean, you look at the talent, you look at
They
the
make up
gaps.
for it in that second.
Yeah, that is a very, very talented team. I mean, all top to bottom. Noah Siddiqui, obviously Mario Stroikens from Anderlecht, um, Bakumba who plays over in Real Betis, and then they have a couple other guys on the bench as well. It's a stacked team, and obviously you have to look at the leader and the back of defensive line, Chancel Mbemba, former teammates with Amir Murillo over at Olympic Marseille. I mean, the team is stacked. The team is stacked left to right, top to bottom, all over the field. They're all in Europe. Their whole starting 11 and the bench. So Jamaicans, I would be worried. I would feel worried in that aspect. But the good thing is it's a one-off game. When in Suriname's case, you kind of look at it and like you said, Julian, you have two massive battles. You have two big battles. Obviously, you're going against the Bolivia team that in that high altitude will do better. I don't know if you saw the game was announced a couple of, I think it was just a day or two ago prior to us making this video, dude. It is going to be played in Guadalajara, if I'm not incorrect. There's a
Okay, I
little
thought
bit
it
of
was
altitude
Monterrey
level
for
there.
some reason.
It might be. Now I'm gonna be honest. I'm pretty sure it was Guadalajara. I got to double check, but
I'm looking now.
I'll
Yeah.
let you. I'll let you double check. If it is Guadalajara, Bolivians got the edge on it. If it is Monterrey, it's a little bit more of an even playing field. So it's going to depend on that. We'll have to. Julian, did you find anything?
Yes. Okay, yeah. Bolivia and Suriname is going to be in Guadalajara, and then the Jamaica
Mm.
Path and DR Congo, New Caledonia is going to be in Monterrey.
That already gives Bolivia a little bit of an edge, I have to say. Unfortunately, a little bit of more higher altitude, higher sea elevation. The Bolivians are used to that. They're going to want that. They're going to like that. I think
Oh
Suriname
wait, I'm
on
sorry.
paper.
Bolivia is going to be in Monterrey. Like swap it around. Bolivia, Suriname, in Monterrey. New Caledonia, Jamaica, in Guadalajara, and DR
Okay.
Congo versus the winner of those. That's the path. So path one's going to be in Guadalajara. Path two is going to be in Monterrey.
Okay.
So
Okay. Maybe that takes a little bit of that edge away from Bolivia. They don't have that little altitude help for them, but still, I still think this is a team. They've been coming in, they've been prepping a lot. Obviously, had some big friendlies against Japan, against South Korea. They played Russia last month. They've had a couple other games, bigger friendlies outside of Bolivia. Obviously, upcoming in January, they're going to be playing us. They play also the DR. And then, if I'm not incorrect, I believe they also play. I got to look at the schedule, but I think they play Jamaica, if I'm not somewhere on there.
dude, where
But
are they
I know
fitting
they
all
play
these friendlies? Like, what? There's only like the
Bolivia.
there's only like January, and that's it. Like, how are they?
I know.
And January is not even a
Bolivians are
real
going.
window.
Not really. It's a cupcake window, yeah. But Bolivia is going into it. I think honestly, in looking at it, and to answer this question, I I gotta agree with you. I'll be real. I can't disagree with you on this one, Julian. Can't go for the sake of the video, but I have to be honest. I think Suriname does have a little bit more of a. I don't want to say an easier gap necessarily, but a more of a doable gap because you just look at that DR Congo game, like you said, if Jamaica is able to get by New Caledonia, and let's not even sleep on that game because I love the Jamaicans and Julian, you and I have talked a lot about this in past videos, and we've seen with past results. If there is a national team in the world who could choke this game, it is Jamaica. Easiest game you would think. It'll just be a layup, piece of cake, walk in the park, no trouble needed, and they end up losing the game on penalty kicks. It's just something I could see the Jamaicans doing. Hopefully not. Obviously, I'm rooting for the Reggae Boys. I want them to do well. I want them to continue, but don't sleep on that first game. If you're Jamaica, try to lock in with it. But yeah, I have to say though, the Suri Boys, they seem to have it a little bit easier. Now, let me ask you this though, Julian. Suriname's going into this Bolivia game, and obviously on paper it's weird because you could make the argument and say Suriname's better and they have obviously the way more abroad players and guys all over Europe and blah 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 and things like that. But Bolivia has been playing as a collective unit for quite some time now. A lot of these guys, you look at Baca, you look at a Gabriel Villamil, you look at guys like up top like a Miguelito, who's even at his young age has still been playing with the Bolivian national team for quite some time. Obviously, Vizcara in the back, the goalkeeper. So these guys have that collective unit. They're kind of like a Guatemala, and in essence of
That was a
that power.
comparison I was going to give. This team, to
Yeah.
me, in terms of quality and performance, they're like a Guatemala. Because if we use the Copa America as a barometer, like Panama, for example, destroyed Bolivia in that group phase. I think it was like 4-0 or something like that, 4-1.
3-1. 3-1.
3-1. Yeah. If I'm using that as barometer, and this is, and we look at how much Suriname competed with Panama these past few rounds, I kind of gauge them in that Guatemala aspect. I think they're beatable, but I'm also trying to take in consideration of how good Suriname really is.
Right.
And the one thing I do agree with you in the sense that I feel like Bolivia, they just seem motivated. I think they're coming off pretty high in that qualifying round and making it to this Intercontinental playoffs. They just seem like they're a little bit more cohesive right now. I feel like Suriname, and maybe they can turn it around in club form and all this other stuff, but I seem like they just feel like a little defeated. And that worries me a lot. Versus you look at a Bolivia team who might be feeling pretty good about where they're at right now. Like I haven't been keeping up with their friendlies and stuff like that, but I know when I was watching qualifying, I think there's a lot to kind of ride high on. You know what I mean? Quite honestly, I mean it's hard to tell because Bolivia is such home merchants, so it's so hard to
Yeah.
gauge that. And I think that's what makes this game so complicated to guess because you're like, every time you've seen Bolivia outside of their home environment, they get demolished. But then we're also comparing that with like the levels of CONMEBOL teams versus Suriname
Right.
is like the C tier of CONCACAF, for example, which is probably where Bolivia um, is like a C tier CONCACAF team. So I think it's going to be really competitive in that sense. I do want to go back to one thing you said about Jamaica that I feel and I want to bring up is that Jamaica, the reason why I don't have a lot of faith in them is Jamaica has never punched above their weight. I have yet to see them punch above their weight. The closest we've seen was that Nations League semifinal a couple years ago against the USA. But that was a Berhalter USA. That was a USA that a lot of people weren't really big. Like, I think Gio Reyna had to come in late and save that game. And that was also a Jamaica team that played a lot of domestic players. So that's not the same team that's probably going to be playing this Intercontinental phase. So it's like, can I really trust Jamaica to really take out a DR Congo when they struggled in their Copa America group? Like,
Yeah.
I've yet to, they can't even punch at their weight, let alone above their weight, especially what we've seen recently. I mean, they were struggling against Curacao. I mean, you're struggling against
Yeah.
a Curacao team. What do you think is going to happen when DR Congo plays? I mean, a team that is playing against the likes of Nigeria and stuff like that, and winning and advancing. So
Right.
I don't see it versus a Suriname team. I think what's going to throw Suriname off for a lot of teams, like a team like Bolivia, for example, is just like never playing each other. And you know what's kind of funny when you think about it is this is a true South American matchup. You're getting two South American teams. You're kidding.
Yeah. Even though one says, screw you guys, and we're going to play for CONCACAF instead. But yeah, this is a real South American derby.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
kind of like where I'm at. So now, let's say hypothetically, right? And we move forward because I feel like we discussed about Bolivia versus Suriname. Say Suriname's able to get that win over Bolivia. They now got to face Iraq. How do you like that matchup against Iraq?
Man, and I'm gonna keep it real with you, dude. It's kind of something, and I'll be honest. Suriname is kind of low key getting into that Jamaica boat. Not necessarily. I wouldn't say they're full on in the boat of fraudulent and can't win big games, and you know can't compete when the tide is on you. But the thing is with Iraq, and they're very similar to DR Congo that we're seeing both from both of those teams over in Asia and Africa right now. Both of those teams have identity. They have a strong, true identity. You look at DR Congo, they're very firmly built, obviously defensively heavy, and then they have very good wing attack play, and then they can create from the middle as well. So they have an identity. And then you look at it in Iraq, and they're very explosive. This is a team that they're attacking you on all fronts. They're coming obviously from the wing. Their midfield's solid. They have guys all over the field. So it's hard to gauge it because it's one of those. It's like, man, that's a team that's has such true identities. And then I look at, like you were saying, Julian. I look at you know like a Jamaica, and I look at it, even like Suriname, and they don't seem to have an identity right now. Neither one of them really. Suriname's, I mean, I guess you could say Suriname's identity is counterattack FC. And the thing is, that's what worries me. Not even to get to the Iraq game, the Bolivia game, is that's how Bolivia almost plays. And it almost kind of seems like it's weird. And I'll be honest, as a neutral looking into these games, I don't know how you feel. I'm so excited to see that kind of like that dynamic, mindset of how each of these teams and the coaches and the players, how they're going to approach the game, because it almost seems like, at least in that first game for a Bolivia Suriname, they're very similar in the aspect of, we're going to wait back, we're going to withdraw pressure, we're going to take in shots, and then we're going to counterattack. We're going to go. We have speed up top. We have guys that can strike. We have shooters on the team, and that's what worries me. Like you said, to answer your question, hypothetically though, assuming Suriname makes it through against Bolivia and they're able to get into that last place game, it worries me that Suriname, like I said, they're not on that full Jamaica boat yet of losing in pressure moments, but pressure makes diamonds, baby. And right now Suriname don't got many diamonds. They don't got that Rolex on right now, brother. They're not repping the chain gang. It's a very hard boat to get into, to say that, yeah, they're going to go in there and they're going to wipe the floor with these teams. Can they do it? Can they compete? Absolutely. I don't doubt it, but it is one of those, like you said, they got to get their mojo back and they got to get to flowing again.
Yeah, and we can end it here. Is just that if I was to see Suriname play Iraq, I don't trust that Suriname can put up the goals needed to face Iraq. Because one of the things that we've seen
Yeah.
from Suriname is, like, while they're at their most dangerous in transition, they're also not clinical at the same time. We've seen it in this World Cup qualifying window. We've seen it in the Gold Cup that just passed. They struggle to score. They really struggle to score. Now, they have been able to solidify the defense a little bit better. Obviously, that didn't work out in the Guatemala game, but at times they can be defensively solid. It's just when it comes to Suriname, I don't know what defense is going to pull up in that game against Iraq if they were to play Iraq, obviously. Because there's moments where I'm like, okay, they're holding up. They've held a clean sheet. They've only allowed one goal, but then the next they'll allow three. You know what I mean? And they'll give up goals late.
Yeah.
Now, one thing you can say is that, okay, yeah, they're able to consistently create chances in the transition, but then it's like guys like Geraldo Becker and Geronimo Kirk, like, they look good, but then when it comes to that, like, they get into that 18-yard box or they get into that final third, they can't consistently put it away. They can't be dangerous. We saw it against Panama,
Right.
for example, like in the game that Panama won, or the game ended up a draw 1-0, 1-1. I mean, they had a lot of chances that they couldn't put away. And there's even a game against the Guatemala game where they had the first round, uh, where they couldn't put chances away. And I've seen this consistently with Suriname, and that worries me a lot when you're going up a team of Iraq's quality in that sense. So
Yeah.
we can end it here with like our overall thoughts and our overall predictions. Obviously, we're going to go a little bit deeper in the
Yeah.
preview as things change and we have the call ups and we kind of get an idea of formations and what's going to be run. But if I had to guess right now, sadly, I don't think any CONCACAF team is going to make it out of this playoff. I just don't think either team has the experience or the quality to
Yeah.
get it done, quite honestly.
Yeah. I'm going to be real, Julian. If you flip flop Jamaica and Suriname was in their bracket and Jamaica was over in the other
I
bracket,
don't think it
I
matters.
think there's a little. I would think at that point Suriname then has really absolutely no shot, and then I would give the Jamaicans a little bit more of a hope. But I will be quite honest with you, dude. I obviously that's an ultra universe, and that's not going to happen. What we're looking at right now on pen and paper is a Jamaican team, and what I think, like you said, is the failing of an identity of this team. Obviously, Stephen McLaren has left the team. That was I wouldn't really say of a shock, but it was a shocking format of how it happened. And a press game post conference, you could tell the dude went on ChatGPT and he wrote some AI speech and said, "Hey, I'm going to quit now." So that was kind of already of a disgrace. And then Suriname, dude, I mean, you can literally see somebody from their federation standing on the sideline whenever they were finishing up that Guatemala game, literally checking up on a scoreboard, praying to God that Honduras or Costa Rica doesn't score. So I think both of these teams are kind of going in already. It's weird because the vibes, when you look at them and then you look at a DR Congo, a Bolivia, and Iraq, they're rolling in hot. They're rolling in fresh. They're rolling in beating Nigeria, beating the likes of a Brazil to qualify and all these heavy favorite teams. While these guys are rolling in there and Suriname's kind of like, dang, dude, we just got spanked, or Jamaica's like, holy cow, we couldn't even beat a country half the size of like Atlanta, So it's like, what is going on right now?
They
So
got, a good example was they kind of got gifted the spots versus the other teams earned the spots. Yeah, like they fought to get those spots versus Jamaica and Suriname failed and got the spots. It wasn't like there wasn't like some sort of path where they went on, like you said, like a DR Congo who just tore shit up, you know what I mean? Or Bolivia coming in hot right at the end to get in and hop Venezuela.
And one last thing, dude, and I'm going to be quite honest with you. I don't know, obviously, how the Iraqis are going to travel to Mexico. I don't know how that's going to be. I don't know if they've already got, but I'm going to be quite honest, dude. I could see a lot of DR Congo. I know for a fact the Bolivians are going to show up and they're going to show out. And
I was going to ask you that.
Opportunity.
Which fan base would show up the most?
I'll be quite real. I could see a lot of Iraqis going as well. I could see a decent amount, really, maybe not selling out a stadium, but taking up a good quarter to about 30-40% of the stadium. And they're going to bring their ultras. They're going to bring the big guys there. So I don't think this is going to be some lighthearted game for them. While when I look at the opposite, I look at our boys in Jamaica and Suriname, and I don't see a packed crowd for Suriname, and I see a lot of Jamaican fans kind of disappointed to even be there in the first place.
They struggle to fill up in Florida. So I mean, like they struggle to fill up in Florida, and I agree with you. I think Middle Eastern fans and just Arab fans in general, those guys travel so well. They travel so well. Like I'll never forget when I was watching them Morocco. Obviously, it's a different team, but Morocco playing USA was crazy the amount of Moroccans there. Or when Morocco came, what was the team that was in Ali? That was Egyptian. What was the team in the Club World Cup that played against Inter Miami? And I think it was Ali. Yeah, the Egyptian team.
Yeah.
Filled that Miami stadium out. It was crazy. And I just feel like the Iraqis are going to do the same thing. And then Bolivia. Yeah. I think due to proximity and culture, they're more likely to probably travel. Quite honestly, I don't recall them really traveling too much for like Copa America. So that kind of, you were at that game actually, so you have a better barometer of how they showed up. There's just not a lot of Bolivians really.
I think what's going to happen is for this game, I think they're going to go out and they realize this is that chance. This is that opportunity. And they literally can taste it. And I think those three fan bases are going to show up and show out. Again, no disrespect, no hate, love, loss towards our new Caledonian brothers, but I don't,
they show out really the most. That'd be crazy. But
man, who knows?
But yeah, we'll end it right there. That's our predictions and thoughts on CONCACAF performing in this Intercontinental playoffs. We want to do a follow-up video to this in March as we lead to the actual tournament. But yeah, if you guys are interested in more CONCACAF content as well as just World Cup content as we lead to the summer of 2026, please feel free to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.